Howdy folks, soap of the day is from Crown King Lavender Cedar, and this soap is fairly firm, but it's got a, you can still stick your finger in it. I've already put a hot towel to the face, the bloom water. I'm going to follow up the shave with the Crown King Lavender Cedar aftershave. There's witch hazel with aloe, alum block, complete with rubber band, and I've got this whipped up with a Crown King brush, of course in the Scuttle. That's what I got in there. And of course, you know, if we're going to go that far, gotta have a Crown King Shavette, and I've got a shark blade in there. It's a pre-cut blade, but it would be the equivalent of one of these snapped in half. Today is I guess I should say I'm a member of a Facebook group called Shavette World, and if I got this figured right, today is Shavette's World second year. Ronnie is the one that set this group up, and I guess you might say it's happy birthday today. Yeah, you can kind of see some of that bloom water already working back up. And our group has had a certain amount of support from various artisans. One of them being Douglas and Fran, coming up with the group soap, aftershave, Shavette. We also have a shaving mug, t-shirt. I think there's some towels floating around out there. As well as the shaving brush from Nathan Clark. Really wanted to shave with this one today because I've had this soap. I've had this soap for a moment, and I missed out on the aftershave. And here recently, Douglas released this aftershave again, and been really anxious to use it. I've already opened it up, and just smelling from the bottle, it smells great. Really nice scent. At least I like it. Get started here. I haven't been shaving very long when Ronnie started this Facebook group. So my, I guess you might say my December 1st and 2nd, my first two shaves of December was my razors from when I very first started wet shaving. Just kind of seems fitting to start out at that point. That those two razors, as well as, you know, there's more when I first started out that got me good and going. Started shaving 2015 in April, and by the beginning of 2016 I was, I guess you might say, to the point where I bought my first two shavettes, like I did my DE razors. I bought them in pairs. Started out with a classic samurai with the red scales and a Parker SRB. It's been fun ever since. If you're interested in a shavette, this is a, or even shaving as far as that goes, it's a very good group to be in. You'll find that there's plenty of people there that are willing to help anybody out first starting out, wet shaving or with the shavette as far as that goes. Very supportive and pretty much lighthearted. You'll see the group have quite a bit of fun. That's to me, it's good to have the support, but it's also to have some fun also. I'll try to remember to put a link down below for the Facebook group, and I've got links for the number of the items here that I'm using. Try to remember all of them. I will say I don't think when I last checked the aftershave is still available. So in other words, if you're like me and still need the aftershave, I think it's still available, but I didn't see the soap. This particular shavette takes a full DE as well as a half, and I should say you will be hard pressed in finding one like this one here. I think he stole out of them quite some time ago. I've had this one for a while. I have a I think what my plans are, at least, is I'm going to, as it goes for the groups, brush and shaving cream and or soap and aftershave. I have a DE that I'm going to use with it, because at that point in time when I first started, I was still, shaving part of my face with the DE and part of it with the shavette, slowly moving into it. Not as slow as what's recommended. I was very anxious to get started. I had been looking for quite some time and trying to learn how to use a shavette and a straight razor. And I opted for the shavette because of kind of figured that honing a razor is probably not going to be in my future anytime soon, because I figured it's going to take some time as well as money. And the classic samurai at that point in time, I think I end up getting it, I'm wanting to say $12 or $13 with 100 derby blades, and that's darn cheap to get started. And you can still find these classic samurais pretty inexpensive with some blades. They're still falling right around that $15 mark. That's pretty inexpensive to get started. When I first started, I felt like the Parker SRB had a little bit more weight behind it. I felt more comfortable with that little bit more weight, but over time I learned how to shave with a shavette that didn't weigh quite as much, and I guess you might say I've gotten pretty proficient at it with the lightweight, because I know in the beginning I really struggled with the lightweight shavette. It just, for me, it was more along the lines I enjoyed the weight of a heavyweight DE shaver, and that's where I was leaning towards with the shavette also. But over time I learned how to shave with a lighter weight one. For me, it was easier to learn the amount of pressure with a heavy Shavette or a heavier one. A Parker SRB is not that heavy, but it is heavier than the classic Samurai. It just, it's just a minor little details that made a big difference. Not quite so minor, but weight-wise, there's not that much of a weight difference between them, as opposed to, say, like 2 ounces on a DE shaver versus 3 ounces. In other words, it wasn't that drastic of a difference. If you have facial hair like I do, it's in my opinion, this particular shave-it is not too tough to use. I would understand looking for something that's a little thinner on the top. In other words, the head not quite being quite so big. If you're having to shave underneath your nose, I can see that could be a challenge. Especially starting out. I've had hair on my face for a good number of years, thinking probably close to 20 years now. So I'm not, how can you say, too eager to be shaving up there. I remember the days when I had to. It was not a whole lot of fun. It's another one of those points where it's getting irritation on the upper lip is not fun. At least it never was for me. It was during the summer, sweating, still burning, stinging. Yeah. With today's social media, it does make things a little bit more, I guess you might say, in the news, more available. But it seems like to me there's far more guys sporting facial hair or beards than what I can ever remember in the past. It could be nothing more than the fact that, like I said, we got social media and it's easier to gauge from there as opposed to where you might live. Because I have to say, where I work, it is very common to see furry faces. Very common. It's a living here in Oklahoma. I don't know if it's because of being in here in Oklahoma. I don't think so. I really think that, that's a trend. Because a few of the guys I talk to, it's a lot like how some of us got started wet shaving was didn't appreciate the price of shaving. Besides, it wasn't that comfortable either. Pay that kind of money and not get a good shave. Of course, now I'm paying more, but that's only because of the number of products I have now. But I'm enjoying it. That makes a world of difference. It's a little easier with this. It's kind of like, nobody enjoys paying taxes, but everybody enjoys spending the money. I down below also put a link that Douglas worked up on how to load the Shavette if you're interested. He shows his method of doing it, and the only thing that I do that might be different on most of my Shavettes that have, I guess you might say, the clasp that goes across the top, I just take the back of my fingernail to push ever so gently on the blade. And I say gently because depending on your shavette, some of these posts may not be too terribly tall, or they might be rounded. And if you push too hard, might try to push over the top, or just push your blade in an angle that's not designed to be that way. So for me, that's I just use the back of my fingernail. It didn't take too much of a push to get it lined up in there, just so. Putting in a full DE is pretty simple. Not too terribly difficult. You might have more of a difficult time remembering after you pull the blade out which side you want to use next. That might be more of an issue than loading the blade itself. Which hazel? I've had this shave, I guess you might say, figured for quite some time. Matter of fact, the whole month of December I've been working up the I guess you might say, the schedule. What soaps, blades, shavers, all that sort of thing. Working all that up. Started back in October, planning that far out. And as well as even September, I had started even earlier for September trying to line everything out. Aftershave. This is, when he first announced it, before he released it, I knew I was going to, if there was only one thing I was going to get, it would be this. Because I've been, I guess you might say, patiently waiting for it. You know how it is sometimes you're not in a position to buy something. And this one here came up. And there was no way I was going to miss out on this one. Because I really like the scent of this soap. Lavender and cedar. To me, the two just complement each other. I smell it. It's one of these days maybe technology will catch up with what we would like in the way of a smell-o-vision, because this here is great. Like I say, I think he still has some the last time I looked, so if you're interested, you might want to get it, because I don't know that it's going to be in production again anytime soon. Once again, here's my shaver. If you look out on eBay, you might be able to find one. When I was looking, I found one that looks similar to this. Of course, it's not going to have the Crown King on there. This, how it ties together here, looked to be different, but similar at the pivot point. You might be able to find one. Like I said, it took me quite a while to look, and how can I say, good luck in finding one that looks like this, made out of the wood. And I think that's supposed to be Tali wood, similar to the brush. The length that I have for the brush is not this. Doesn't have the exact same knot. I think this one here is a Duro knot, and the link is for a Suave knot. I think something like that. Anyhow, the knot's going to be different, but overall, still this more or less the same brush, depending on what you wanted. I think, if I remember right, this one here was supposed to be closer to a boar, and I like boar brushes, so that's the reason why I chose it. Oh, so Monday, speaking of beginnings, here's another Parker I'm going to be shaving with. This one here I think is the 87R, and it's a twisty open. And if there's anything that's unique about this, is you see that the knob down here is up against the rest of the handle, and as you close it, it moves away. And it reminds me, the handle and whatnot, it reminds me, I think it's a British rocket that looks similar to this. That was one of the things that drove me to this particular shaver. It looked good and kind of remind me of that shaver. I tried to get one on eBay, but that dollar amount went way too high. Wasn't willing to pay the price that it was going for. Maybe one of these days I'll get lucky and get one. Had a great shave. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.